The independence of the Federal Reserve is absolutely critical for maintaining a strong and stable economy. And this is the heart of a growing debate that many don't fully grasp. Minneapolis Federal Reserve President Neel Kashkari made this point clear during his Wednesday address at the Minnesota Women's Economic Roundtable. His remarks come at a time when the Fed is under unprecedented political pressure, especially from President Donald Trump, who has publicly pushed the central bank to lower interest rates and even targeted its chair, Jerome Powell, on social media. But here's where it gets controversial. Should political leaders have any sway over the decisions of the nation's monetary authority? Kashkari stressed that the success of the economy largely depends on the American public's confidence in the Fed's ability to operate independently. This trust helps keep the labor market strong and inflation in check. Over the last several decades, economists and policymakers worldwide have learned a vital lesson. Central banks must base their decisions on solid economic data, not political agendas. When they do, economic performance improves significantly. Having an independent central bank making decisions free from political influence results in better outcomes, Kashkari explained to the attendees. But why does this independence matter so much to everyday Americans? Kashkari offered an insightful explanation. Even if people aren't consciously aware of it, their behavior changes based on how much they believe the Fed is managing the economy properly. For instance, one of the Fed's core responsibilities is to maintain inflation at roughly 2%. A level agreed upon as optimal for maximum employment and price stability. Since 2022, the Fed has primarily used interest rate increases as its tool to cope with rising inflation. If the public loses faith that the Fed can control inflation, the situation can spiral. Imagine workers facing higher costs of living. They might push for pay raises to keep up. Employers, confronted with rising wage bills, then pass those costs on by increasing prices. This wage-price spiral fuels inflation even more, making the original problem worse rather than better. The Fed's path has not been entirely smooth. After lowering rates last year as inflation approached the target, it paused its rate changes amid uncertainties, especially related to Trump's unpredictable trade policies that create further inflationary pressures. Kashkari shared his cautious stance on the tariffs' impact. I'm in the camp that believes we need to observe the situation further before drawing definite conclusions. This highlights another complex challenge the Fed faces beyond its typical interest rate maneuvers. Adding to the controversy, Trump recently launched a highly unusual campaign to remove Fed Governor Lisa Cook, accusing her of mortgage fraud, a claim she has firmly denied. This effort has alarmed many experts and lawmakers, who warn it threatens the very principle of Federal Reserve independence. In an open letter addressed to the President, Congress, and the public, hundreds of economists insisted that attempting to oust a sitting Fed governor undermines trust in one of America's most important financial institutions. Kashkari avoided direct commentary on this politically charged issue, but expressed strong support for Cook's work. He described her as a valuable member of the Federal Open Market Committee, expressing hope that she will continue to contribute her expertise. She's a high-quality colleague whose insights I deeply respect, Kashkari said. This situation leaves us with big questions for readers. Should the Federal Reserve remain completely insulated from political pressure, even when policy decisions have huge economic consequences? Or is some level of political influence inevitable and perhaps even necessary? How do we balance accountability with independence to protect our economy's health? The debate around the Fed's autonomy is far from over, and your perspective matters. What do you think about the recent political attacks on the Fed and the calls to remove Governor Cook? Do you believe the Fed can truly act in the nation's best interest if it's under constant political scrutiny? Share your thoughts and join the conversation below.